At 6:30 p.m. on a business broadcast today. Now the rumors had come true. The rift had now reached its pinnacle. As the country was gearing up for state elections, Urjit Patel, the now former RBI governor, had tendered in his resignation. He cited personal reasons for the same. But there was much more than what met the eye. Now before we really discuss what really happened and what really led to his resignation, the tiff between the RBI and the centre, let's also talk about the change in guard. There has been a change in guard. Shaktikanta Das has now taken over as the 25th RBI governor, and addressing his first press conference after assuming charge as the governor of Reserve Bank of India, Shaktikanta Das said that he will do everything to uphold core values in the autonomy of the central bank. Das said that the RBI has the core competence to deal with any technical or monetary issue, and that he's looking forward to work with the entire RBI team. Shaktikanta Das has replaced Urjit Patel, who resigned amid issues related to the autonomy of the central bank. Shaktikanta Das, as I said, is the 25th governor of the RBI.
Where that I assumed charge today in the morning as the 25th governor, and I am grateful for all the good wishes which I have received from many of you who are present here. I have convened a meeting with the MD and CEOs of the MDs and the CEOs of the public sector banks tomorrow in the morning. And as you know, banking is an important segment of our economy, and it's currently facing several challenges which are of critical importance, and they need to be dealt with.
Now, to really discuss the change of guard and what it will mean for the economy and the future roadmap of the country, I'm now being joined in by Dr. Suman Mukherjee, who's an economist. Dr. Mukherjee, good to have you on the show. Let's really get straight to it. If you can hear me. Now, this had been, long time coming. Tensions had been escalating for a really long time. Let's really begin with issues that really created friction between the two, that is the RBI and the centre, rising NPAs, the FRDI policy, demonetization. First, what do you think were the reasons that really led to this pinnacle where the divide came out in the open, eventually led to the resignation of Urjit Patel?
Well, to tell you very bluntly, I don't think there are personal reasons bothering this kind of resignation. The RBI governor has been under pressure, not just from this government, but it started early. Even under Chidambaram, he was after the RBI governor, trying to reduce the rate of interest so that investment picks up. This interference by the Ministry of Finance on RBI affairs has been, for a purist like us economists, a bit out of place. The business of RBI is to maintain price stability, whereas that of the Ministry of Finance is to take care of fiscal policy. There is, of course, a semblance of connection which comes from the point of how much of money supply should be increased. But by and large, if the legislature starts adopting the judiciary, that's unfortunate for the country, inasmuch as it is for the Ministry of Finance to take care of monetary policy. That should be governed separately, although in conjunction with the needs of the government. The main issues here were, after demonetization.
Come back to you and discuss further of what the critics have been saying, what this means for the road ahead. I just want to play a report of what really led to the tensions between the RBI and the centre, how this new change of guard came into effect, and what really this means. I just want to play a report and then get back to you.
This was the statement by Deputy RBI Governor Viral Acharya in October that had set the ball rolling and tongues wagging. The rift between the RBI and the centre was out in the open. Now this comment was responded with a reaction from the Finance Minister, blaming the RBI for the increased stressed assets in the country. Tensions did not simmer down right there. Soon reports erupted that the government could think of invoking Section 7, which empowers the government to consult and give instructions to the governor to act on certain issues and restricts the independent autonomy of the RBI. Now, even though the government did not go ahead with this step and did issue a statement to calm nerves, everybody involved knew it was a matter of time before the unsaid would happen. The issues had been piling for long. So what are the issues? Well, regulatory power over banks. The RBI has a wide-ranging powers over public sector banks. The regulatory powers of PSP is weaker than over private banks. The PNB fraud. The government questioned the RBI on supervisory lapses. The RBI regulatory powers are weak. The NPA circular. The government, well, they dilute norms for power firms. The RBI need to resolve stress assets in a time-bound manner. And well, norms for payment systems too. Government proposed an independence regulatory board. Well, and the RBI must remain within the RBI. On the 10th of December, Urjit Patel decided to step down. On account of personal reasons, I've decided to step down from my current position, effective immediately. It has been my privilege and honour to serve in the Reserve Bank of India in various capacities over the years. The support and hard work of RBI staff, officers and management has been the proximate driver of the bank's considerable accomplishment in recent years. I take this opportunity to express gratitude to my colleagues and directors of the RBI Central Board and wish them all the best for the future. Now, making him the first RBI governor since 1990 to have stepped down before finishing his term, he issued a letter stating he had personal reasons for taking this decision. So what now? Shaktikanta Das appointed new RBI governor. Experts see interference in decision-making as reason behind Patel's exit. Experts also say markets may be volatile for the days to come. Bureau Report, India Ahead.
Dr. Mukherjee, now that we've played a report to really help our viewers understand what really were the points of friction, I want to go back to what I was discussing with you earlier. A lot of critics and experts now believe that interference of the government, restriction of the autonomy of the RBI was one of the main reasons of the tussle. How true do you think this reason was?
There is a question of urgency. The government needed funds because it wants to liquidate some of the NPAs. The RBI has been transferring the entire surplus over income for every year, around 50,000, 65 at times, and 30 at the least, since the year of the demonetization, 65,000 crores. But the stock in hand is around 3,50,000 crores. Now the government, RBI wanted this money to be kept. The point is, this fund should be used on an emergency like a tsunami, an earthquake, or war. But for normal glitches of poor banking norms, if this fund is touched, I think the RBI governor is within his rights to say that I would like to part with it because it sets a very odd norm. The other is about the prompt action, the PCA norm that was being, the action taken that was pretty strong, and the government wanted a relaxation of that, which I think is quite in order. And the RBI
Dr.
should have
Mukherjee,
relent on that.
we've understood these points of friction. What I'm trying to understand is how much do we take on the face value and how much is there that needs more than what the eye sees. If you see the reactions that came in after Urjit Patel's resignation, it was really less than 24 hours before there were state elections. We had reactions from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, even Union Minister Arun Jaitley. They put out public messages. Prime Minister Modi said that he will be missed. How did you read these reactions?
You see, most of the reactions are political. So I'd stick to just the economic point of view because politically it suits some people who oppose what the government was trying to do. But very fairly, as I began by saying, even Chidambaram wanted to interfere with the role of RBI. So it cuts across all political parties. When you're short of funds, you want RBI to bail you out. And which is not out of order because after all, it's an arm of the government. But for instance, the exchange rate which has dropped has suddenly given RBI a lot of funds. If it's dropped by about a certain percentage, that much of foreign exchange is suddenly earned by RBI. And there's no reason why RBI should not hand that over to the government to bail it out of this kind of imminent crisis. So there is an issue here that some of the funds is out of revenue, some of that is out of a drop in the exchange rate. That could be parted with easily. The other is the capital adequacy norm should have been reduced, because now with the banks stuffed to the gills with so much of funds, they need to lend it out, and the capital adequacy norms have to be relaxed to see that lending is allowed. But if you stick to Basel norms and do away with viability,
got that.
Projects.
That's one part of it. Correct, Doctor. Absolutely. Dr. Mukherjee, that's one part of it. I really want to talk about the institution, the organization of the RBI itself. It was not just Urjit Patel. If we go back to October, it was RBI Deputy Governor Viral Acharya actually who had first involved himself in a war of words. He had said that the government that do not respect the autonomy of the RBI will see the wrath of the markets. Do you think more cards will now tumble?
I don't think so. It's like people leaving the burning deck. You see, the score is politically, the government has taken a lot of flack for its hard measures, which would take some time for it to yield. So when the deck is in burning, then a lot of people leave the deck to say, I'm not to be held responsible. But the fact is, it's a part of the deal, from demonetization to digitalization to everything. Leaving it in the middle of the lurch, I think, is unwarranted, because that should have been taken in your stride. Whereas I do not believe that the finance ministry should interfere. The persons involved have also not been fair in leaving the deck as this. Don't blame me, because I never wanted it. What were you doing for 1.5 years?
Fair enough.
If you had such a problem, you should have left.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. You know, now that we've spoken about the resignation of Urjit Patel, I also want to quickly talk about the change of guard. We do have a new RBI governor, the 25th RBI governor, Shakti Kanta Das. Now, he really was welcomed with mixed reactions, while some hailing him as a scholar, others calling him the demonetization man, hence doubting that anything good will now come out with this new appointment. How are you reading the new appointment?
See, to begin with, I thought I'm personally of the view that the demonetization was not totally wrong. It was perhaps the right step to take, but there were certain, like the printing of the people, or not anticipating so much of money coming into the banks, because had they anticipated that, they should have had a fallback option of saying how to lend it. Now, Mr. Das was involved with it. Since he's taken that step, he was supporting that step, I'm very happy that he has actually stuck his neck out to accept this post, because I'm sure he, being a bureaucrat, knows how to man the ship rather than disown it. So it is something which I believe is in right order.
Dr. Mukherjee, right. Before I let you go, I just want to ask you one last quick question. Now, after we saw the resignation of Urjit Patel, the next day the rupee slumped to a 4-year low, Sensex crashed almost 300 points. A lot of experts still saying that markets will continue to be volatile. How are you expecting the markets to react, say, over the next few months?
Let's put it this way. The market is just an index, and it favors like a weather clock depending on the mood and the optimism of the people. Now, if people are uncertain, the market will be uncertain. The moment the market rallies behind the government, it will be when they feel that this government is likely to stay. It's not a reflection of RBI's resignation, governor's resignation. It is more about the uncertainty of the political climate. So I think I don't give much weightage to whether the market rocks or not, because the solid reason is the government growth is back on stands. And the reason is we have a strong government with strong policy, with one face, one party, and that should be on the move. And if for 70 years there are problems that have occurred, we should give this government 10 years time before we call it a bluff.
Right, Dr. Mukherjee, appreciate you joining us here on India and helping us understand what this change of guard really means for the road ahead and for the Indian economy.